الرحيم الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. السلام عليكم. How's everyone doing? Good. Sunday day. No shopping today, inshallah. So, Jazakumullah khair for having me, for asking to come, inshallah. It's a pleasure, honor in fact. Because, you see, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we'll carry on, by the way, we'll carry on as Ustad Abu Hanifa did, so we'll talk about Ramadan and so forth, because Ramadan is going to be the next month, and maybe pick on some certain points. Honor from an aspect that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we look around and we see over 7 billion people living in this world. Over 7 billion people living in this world. Out of whom 1.57 billion people are considered as to be Muslims. 1.57 billion are considered as to be Muslims. Out of whom there are about 3 million plus Muslims in UK, United Kingdom. And there are about, if I'm not mistaken, about 1,000 or so Muslims in Gravesend. Correct me if I'm wrong. Out of whom you are the ones that Allah allowed to come in the masjid and learn about Him. This is not a small thing. The reason that we are here, it is not just because I wanted to come and I am here. It is because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you the strength to come and sit in a masjid and to listen to His story. Or to listen to a reminder that will bring us closer to Him. Why? Because the greatest of the pleasures is that of seeing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Jannah. Allah says in the Quran, وَجُوهٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ نَاظِرَةٌ إِلَىٰ رَبِّهَا نَاظِرَةٌ. That on that day, people will be, their faces will be shining. And they will be looking at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's a hadith of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that when the people of Jannah would have settled in Jannah, Allah would have given them their place in Jannah. That, you have Jannah, Muhammad, Yusuf, Dr. Burhan, everyone. They have taken their places, and they are relaxed now. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make a call, and He will say, and He will call the people of Jannah. That's a summary of the hadith. And He will say to them, are you all satisfied? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask the people of Jannah, are you all satisfied? And the people of Jannah will say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what more can we ask you for? You have given us Jannah. And what more can we ask you for? Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would give them something more than what they had ever thought of, contemplated. Allah would then remove the veil between them and the people of Jannah. And they will be able to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is the greatest of the pleasures a Muslim can have. That he will have the time to see the creator of this world, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is the pleasure, that is a blessing of Allah, that Allah gives to those whom He wishes. And that doesn't come just, without doing anything. No, one has to work hard. One has to make an effort. One has to, sacrifice their whims and desires in order to come close to Allah. Like today is Sunday. You could have done anything that you wanted to. Spend some time with family, go out some shopping, do some shopping, or so forth. But you know what? The hearts are inclined towards the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And anyone and everyone could have done it. But Allah gives strength to those He loves. Allah gives tawfiq to those He wants to come close to Allah. You see, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives an opportunity to perform goodness or to perform good actions to everyone. Allah gives an opportunity to everyone to perform a good action. It is then who does it, who takes it. And Allah says in the Quran, فَاسْتَبِقُوا الْخَيْرَاتِ, and rush towards performing good actions. Rush towards performing good actions. But who performs them? So it's a blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we are here. It is the strength that Allah gave. So we need to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that. Because it is not from our own strengths that we are here. No, it is from the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then we know from the hadith of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that whenever there is a gathering, and their gathering is there to remember Allah. There are two hadith. One is that there is a group of angels that is always on the lookout to see where there is remembrance of Allah taking place. Where is that group that is talking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And when they find, an angel finds the group, all the other angels are called. And then they circle around that gathering. Just imagine, we may not be able to see it, or we cannot see it, but that is the belief. Then the angels circle that gathering where the discussion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is taking place, until it reaches the heavens. And once that circle finishes, the angels disperse. Some go, then this point is, or information is taken back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they tell them that, oh Allah, these people came, to learn about you and so forth. And Allah asks them, did they come for any other reason? I.e., did they come for money, or did they come for this, or no, they just came to learn about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and remember Allah. They just say, no, they just came to learn about you. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says what? That be witness that I have forgiven them. I have forgiven each and every shortcoming of them. Then one of the angels said, oh, there was another person who did not come for this reason. Allah says, with him, with the group, he is also forgiven. So it's great blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we are here. And then a great blessing of Allah, the point that started with being honored. Islam is haqq. Islam is true. Starting from Adam alayhi salam till Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the prophets were sent. And each and every prophet that came said the same thing. Believe in Allah. Worship Allah. Don't associate any partners with Him. Believe in Him. Worship Him. And follow the Prophet at that very moment. So at Adam alayhi salam, the people who followed Allah and listened to the Prophet Adam alayhi salam, they were considered as to be Muslims. And so forth it carries on. Nuh alayhi salam, Yusuf alayhi salam, Musa alayhi salam, Isa alayhi salam, Yaqub alayhi salam, Ibrahim alayhi salam, Ismail alayhi salam. And then so forth until Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So this notion that in this day and age, when we are so busy, how can we bring it into our lives? It is to believe that, subhanAllah, for every difficult situation or every problem, there is a solution in Islam. There is a solution in Islam. And we have to take it like that. We may not understand certain aspects of it. We may not understand certain points to it. That doesn't mean that it is wrong or incorrect or so forth. It means that there is a limit capacity of our thinking, the way we think, with the way we move forward. But we don't negate it because of the aspect that, because I'm not understanding. For example, everyone, mashallah, that when you have wudu already and you're traveling or you are going somewhere and you have to renew your wudu, you have to do your wudu again, then you can wipe over your socks. Normal socks or leather socks, that's a different discussion, but you can wipe over your socks, right? Now, if it was by logic, then you would wipe under your socks, not over your socks, right? But it's not by logic. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that when you are doing this, when it comes to you are wearing something, you wipe over your feet, over your socks, rather than underneath. So it's not by logic. That's part of ubudiyyah that you understand. You take it and you believe in it and you move forward. You know why, brothers? And if there are any sisters? There are 98% of the aspects or principles within the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we understand. They make sense logically, it's simple, we move forward. There may be 2% that we may not understand. And guess what? The 98% of the aspects within the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah makes it clear that there is this benefit when you do this. When you pray, it will stop you from committing sin. Inna salat tanha anil fahsha'i wal munkar. When you fast, it will bring piety to you. Or if you want to fast, then you will become closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you do this, then this will happen. If you do this, this will happen. This is how the rain comes down. This is how the mountains have been created by Allah. This is for each and everything there is some kind of information being given. But the 2% Allah says, and this 98% that is given makes sense. And people say, I accept it, I accept it. Even the non-Muslims say that we accept these things. But the 2%, they don't make sense and they don't make any, people don't understand it. And Allah says that I am not going to tell you. You will not understand how the world is being held. You will not understand how this universe has been created. You will not understand that, you will not understand this. And Allah will not give you the reason. Allah says, the signs that you have are enough for the believers. You have to take them. Look at yourself. The biggest of the sign a person can have. Look at your body. Look how Allah has developed it, has produced it. The eyes, the hands, the ears, and so forth. Look at the heavens, look at the skies, look at the sea, and so forth. Like that, all of these aspects that come together, they come to the notion we realize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordained for Muslims to perform certain actions. Within these actions, the action of fasting comes in. We know when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam on Mi'raj, okay, what happened? He took them to Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and over there in the Mi'raj, when he was met Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the discussion took place, the salah or the prayer was ordained. First, it was 50 prayers. Yes, we all know this about this. And then when he came down, he met Musa alayhi salam, and Musa alayhi salam said to Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what happened? And the discussion took place, and he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordained 50 prayers. He said, no, this was going to be too much for your ummah. Go back and ask Allah for some concession reduction. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam went back, and then it was reduced. Then he came back to Musa alayhi salam, he said, okay, this is what happened. So many have been reduced. He said, it's too much. Go back and ask Allah to reduce it. Until it came to 5 daily prayers. And then when he came to Prophet Musa alayhi salam, Musa alayhi salam said, no, this is too much, go back. Prophet said, I'm shy now. I've asked enough and I will take this to my ummah. Like that, when Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was in Mecca, when he migrated to Medina, already this habit of fasting existed. The habit of fasting existed because Allah says in the Quran, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu kutiba alaykum as-siyamu kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. That all you who believe, fasting has been prescribed on you as it was prescribed on the nations before you. لَعَلَّكُمْ. Why was it prescribed, or why has it been prescribed on you? يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ. All you believe, fasting has been prescribed on you. كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ. As it was prescribed on the nations before you. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. So that you may attain piety. Now what is piety? Piety, tattaqun, comes from the word which is taqwa, okay, which is, some people say, okay, you may have heard the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It has many meanings to it. Taqwa, having that understanding that whenever someone does anything, or you as an individual, you know that Allah is watching you. If we realize that Allah is watching me, night, day, at any time of my life, that brings certain kind of consciousness. That brings some kind of, carefulness, that I have to be careful that Allah is watching me and Allah will hold me accountable for whatever I do in this life. Allah says in the Quran in Surah Al-Zalzal, مَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَى وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ شَرًّا يَرَى. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment will hold you accountable for whatever bad or whatever good you may have done, even if it is to the amount of, dharra. Dharra is, the sand. You have the sand, and the dot that it is, that one of the sand particles, that is dharra. That whatever we may have done which is wrong, Allah will hold you accountable. Whatever good we may have done, Allah will hold you accountable. So the piety comes in from many aspects. Then piety within the deen of Allah, which is the religion of Allah, related to fasting is what? In fasting, as we all know, everything that is normally halal, allowed, is prohibited. It's restricted. For example, we are allowed to eat generally, but during that time of fasting, which is from dawn till sunset, we don't consume anything. We don't eat, we don't drink, we don't do anything. Having close to our family, or like our wives or partners, having intimate relationship would be allowed, but in that time it would not be allowed. Okay? Doing anything that would generally be allowed, we are not allowed to do that in those times. Allah makes it sacred. Allah makes it forbidden for a person to perform those actions. Now when a person controls himself or herself to please Allah, then there are so many benefits to it. There's hadith of Prophet ﷺ, summary of the hadith, that Allah said, the hadith is that Allah said that in the month of Ramadan, for every action you perform, the reward is multiplied from what? Does anyone know? 70? No. 70,000? No. 700,000. Okay. 10 to 7 to 700,000. Now the 700 number which is used within Arabic is normally used in infinite manner. Infinite. That is, Allah will give them as much as He wishes. It all depends on the intention of the person. That every person will get what they intended for. Every person will get what they intended for. So if me and you believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give me this reward, Allah will give that reward and be pleased with it. But there's another thing Allah says within this, the Prophet ﷺ mentioned within the hadith. So the reward gets multiplied into 10, into 100, into 700 times in the month of Ramadan. But Allah says, the reward of fasting, Allah has not mentioned the reward of fasting. Allah says, this is for me to give him. This is for me to give him. Why? Generally, whenever you do something, people can see what you are doing. When you're giving in charity, people can see you're giving in charity. When you are, praying, people can see you're praying. When you hajj, people can see you're performing hajj. Whatever you do, people can generally see. Fasting, no one can see. So if you're standing in front of another person and you're talking perfectly fine, they can't actually tell if you're fasting. So Allah said that the reward of a fasting person, I will give it to him. And Allah does not mention it, that how much the reward will be. This month of fasting that is coming, it is mentioned that the companions of the the friends of the Prophet ﷺ, used to, once the Ramadan finished, or he would finish, they would ask for 6 months making dua to Allah, oh Allah, please accept the month of Ramadan. Oh Allah, accept the month of Ramadan. Oh Allah, accept the month of Ramadan. And then when the 6 months would pass, and the Ramadan would be 6 months away, they would then start making dua, oh Allah, allow us to see the month of Ramadan. Oh Allah, allow us to see the month of Ramadan. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about this month, about the month of Ramadan, شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن. That it was the month of Ramadan in which what was revealed? The Quran was revealed. إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَاهُ فِي لَيْلَةِ الْقَدْرِ. Verily we revealed this in the night of decree. We will talk about the night of decree anyway. The month by itself is so amazing. The hadith of Prophet ﷺ, that the angels not the angels, the shayateen are locked up. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts people in Jannah, forgives their sin every day in millions and millions. And that's why it is mentioned that anyone who passes away in Ramadan goes directly to Jannah. No questions asked. This is a person ordained for Jannah. That's why when someone passes away in Ramadan, they say, oh mashallah, good death, good death. Why? Because the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there. Then what used to happen? That in the month of fasting, Ramadan, the Prophet ﷺ would increase certain actions. I.e., they would increase the adhkar, the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They would increase the recitation of the Quran. They would increase the salah, the prayer. They would increase performing good actions. They would increase all of the actions of goodness that they would normally perform in the other days or other months, more so in the month of Ramadan. Now going back, when the Prophet ﷺ migrated to Medina, people were already fasting. Okay, 2 days, 3 days or so for they were fasting. Then it was this, the ayah of Allah's Quran was revealed that fasting is there, and if you cannot fast, then you can try to feed the person if it is good for you, if you can afford it or so forth. If you can't, then it is better for you to fast. So in the beginning, there was this voluntary fast command that came. And then later on, as the Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in became more close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and more better in their deen, then this prescribed session or commandment of fard fast came, the obligatory fast came. And then the companions of the Allah ajma'in would start their fast in the morning before the sun rises, have their suhoor, and then carry on until the sunset time. The hadith related to this fasting, more so, that the Prophet ﷺ, the moment it would start, Aisha radiallahu anha, and so many hadith, the Prophet ﷺ focus would be in that month of Ramadan about the worship. And as the ayah of the Quran, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ, I have not created man or jinn except to worship me. So the focus would always be, how can I worship Allah more in this month of Ramadan? And of course, working doesn't stop us from coming close to Allah. Okay? You're working, make sure that this month becomes the month in which you come more close to Allah. This month becomes the month of change. That positive change that you will come close to Allah. Look at the reward of fasting. It is mentioned. The hadith of Prophet ﷺ, it's an amazing hadith. Amazing hadith. Everyone may have heard of the smell of musk. There's this perfume called musk. Okay, and the smell is considered as to be one of the best smells. So there's a narration of Prophet ﷺ that the person who is fasting, of course, because he or she they haven't eaten anything, so technically, there's some kind of smell from the stomach which is coming, and then it comes out from the mouth or so. That's why it's encouraged that people do miswak, which is, the toothbrush or so. The national toothbrush, which is known as now also organic, what you can call it. The hadith of Prophet ﷺ, the person who is fasting, the smell which comes out of a person's mouth is more beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than the smell of the musk. Now, some people may say, what is musk and so forth. It is also mentioned that when a person passes away in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and so forth, so the smell of the blood is equal to the smell which is musk, which is the best of the smells. And these shahudan who sacrifice their lives for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they will be under the shade of Allah's throne on the day of judgment. They will be under the shade of Allah's throne on the day of judgment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves the smell that comes out of the mouth of a fasting person more than the blood of the people who will stand under the shade of Islam. Just imagine that. And then people say, oh, can I do this? Or you know what, I can't do this, or so forth and so forth. Look how much Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us. He loves the smell of a fasting person more than the smell of the mosque. And at that very moment, just contemplate or visualize. You know, your family, you don't like the smell coming out from the other person's mouth. You don't like the smell coming out of your child's mouth who you love the most. Agreed? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves the smell coming out of every fasting person's mouth. How great this blessing is. SubhanAllah. And Allah gives it to us. You know, I mentioned in the beginning that Allah gives an opportunity to everyone to come close to Him. It's who takes it. So imagine when you start fasting tomorrow, and you say, SubhanAllah, you're walking and you realize, you know what? Allah loves the smell which is coming out of my mouth. Because I'm fasting for His sake. This is very important. That when we fast, it has to be for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hadith of Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that during the month of Ramadan, at the end, some people would have they fasted for the whole month, but it would be as if nothing but they became thirsty and hungry. And some people, they prayed that Qiyamul Layl or Tahajjud, and it would be nothing but just that they stayed up all night. What's the point of that hadith of Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? If the intention is not correct, if the actions are not correct, then there is nothing from that action. Our intention is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our actions within the month of Ramadan have to be upright. Then there is going to be reward. If they are not going to be upright, then the problem, it's still the problem still exists. So when Allah is giving this opportunity of 29 or 30 days, we have to take it with both our hands. We have to hold it and say, you know what, this is the month. The month only comes once. And look at yourself. And how many people you know that are not going to be present for this month of Ramadan? We don't know if any one of us will remain alive until the month of Ramadan starts. But how many people have still passed away? They will not see the month of Ramadan. They will not have the opportunity to get those 700 times reward of each salah or each action of adhkar or giving that they may have given in charity. They will not get the opportunity again. But anyone who stays alive, and that is why the Sahaba, the companions used to make this dua. Oh Allah, allow us to see the month of Ramadan. Allow us to see the month of Ramadan. Because of this. That there is so much pleasure and goodness and coming closer to Allah that all of us need it. You know, there is another point that is mentioned. That if the sins of a person would smell or had some smell, then all of us would smell or stink and no one would be able to stand around us. That's the reality, right? Each one of us knows how many sins we commit every day. And it is only the blessing of Allah that He forgives it or forgives them and allow us to come closer to Him again and again. And this is that opportunity of the month of Ramadan. Allah says in the Quran, another blessing He gives, إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَاهُ فِي لَيْلَةِ الْقَدْرِ لَيْلَةُ الْقَدْرِ خَيْرٌ مِّنْ أَلْفِ شَهْرٍ تَنَزَّلُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ وَالرُّوحُ فِيهَا بِإِذْنِ رَبِّهِم مِّن كُلِّ أَمْرٍ سَلَامٌ هِيَ حَتَّى مَطْلَعِ الْفَجْرِ. That verily we have revealed in this night. وَمَا أَدْرَكَ مَا لَيْلَةُ الْقَدْرِ. What do you know what Laylatul Qadr is? What this night of decree is? Laylatul Qadri khayrun min alfi shahr. That this night is better than 1,000 nights. تَنَزَّلُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ وَالرُّوحُ فِيهَا. That in this night the angels will descend until the morning time. سَلَامٌ حَتَّى مَطْلَعِ الْفَجْرِ. سَلَامٌ هِيَ حَتَّى مَطْلَعِ الْفَجْرِ. And there is tranquility and peace until the morning. Now in this night, what is mentioned, we talked about the month of Ramadan, how amazing it be and how much the reward is and so forth. The night of decree, which is known as the Laylatul Qadr, in which it is mentioned the Quran was revealed, Hadith of Prophet ﷺ, it comes in the last, the narration which is mentioned, the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that it was in the last 10 nights. Then it was specified to be in the last odd nights. Last 5 odd nights in the last 10 days. There is another narration in which it is mentioned, the Prophet ﷺ said, I was shown the night of decree. I was shown the night, the Laylatul Qadr, but then it was taken away from me. Some narrations of the companions mention that it was 27, some mention 25, some mention 23, some mention 21. So it is wide. It is from either can be 21st, 23rd, 25th, 27th, 29th. Al-Muhim, the point being, my brothers and sisters, the opportunity of coming close to Allah, you have the first 20 days and then you have the last 10 days as well. In which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives this, that if you are praying in this night, or you are worshipping Allah, that night is better than the worship of 1,000 months. Who's good at maths? No one? 1,000 months is how many?
87.
About 82 plus years. 82 plus years of worship. And this is accepted worship, yani. This is not worship that me and you are doing or something. This is like, accepted in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is better than 1,000 months. So Allah is giving this opportunity again. It's difficult, but as we said, it's not going to just come like that. You're not going to be from the people of Jannah, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will come and say to them that, are you all satisfied and content, and then He will remove the veil between Himself and the people of Jannah. No, you have to do a little bit. So this night of decree, the Laylatul Qadr, would come in the last 10 nights. And the odd nights. And the difficulty we have over here in UK, sometimes, we make a mistake in starting the month of Ramadan on the right day or something, So just my advice to people normally would be, just be careful. Don't focus your salahs or worship only on the odd nights. What if the Ramadan started on the other one and you're focusing on the odd nights, but they come to be the even nights, and you just miss the odd nights or so? So the month of Ramadan is the complete month in which we have to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it is it's kind of a preparation time. That once we are there for 29, 30 days, for the following 9, 10 months, 11 months, it gives us that safety, that barrier, that it keeps us pushing to go down and so forth. It's a preparation time. So this night of decree, the Laylatul Qadr, is considered as to be better than 1,000 months. So some of the things that the brothers can do within this month of Ramadan. Of course, we still have a few weeks left. Start making your plans now. That how you're going to manage the recitation of the Quran. How will you manage your 5 daily prayers and tahajjud or qiyamul layl? How will you manage your adhkar? How will you manage giving in charity? What charities would you give in? Don't limit yourself. Don't focus yourself. Imagine you say, you know what? I can afford to give, let's say, £15 a month to a charity. Divide it. Divide it among 5 charities. Give £3 each to each charity per month until the year or for 2 years. Okay? You can give more. Divide your, the sadaqah. But make your plan now. It's all about preparation. How are you going to manage your salahs? Which masjid you're going to go to, because the time of having your iftar and food and then tarawih would go probably up to what? 12:30. Then the suhoor will start early. So what time you're going to manage your adhkar, the qiyamul layl, the night prayer and so forth. Tarawih can be considered as to be night prayer. But what time if you want to pray to your own, on your own, 2 rak'ah, 4 rak'ah, 6 rak'ah, how are you going to manage it? Then what time you're going to sleep, what time you're going to wake up, how are you going to do your salah, how are you going to do your recitation of the Quran, because it is one of the most important things that you need to do in month of Ramadan, is the recitation of the Quran. So many people come to me and say, we can't recite Quran. It's an obligation. And so many people, they recite the Quran, but they make blunders. Major mistakes. There's a word, I'll just give you an example. In the Arabic language, as you know, that there is something which is known as heart. And in Arabic known as qalb. Q-A-L-B. Okay? This is qalb. And the qalb, the Q or the qaf is pronounced from the back of the throat. Qalb. Which means heart. Many people would say it as kalb. Does it sound different? Sounds different, right? This is K-A-L-B, but it means dog. You see how it changes the meaning? The Quran by itself is, subhanAllah, miraculous. It's the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The pronunciation or the recitation of the surahs, the words, has to be right. So if you have these 2.5 weeks, start learning how you will pronounce them correctly. Okay, you have many lessons taking place online. You have many videos that are showing how to pronounce each letter. You have the Imam of the masjid, work with him, ask him to do the session. Say, Imam, sir, we want you to run a session, every day in the evening after Maghrib for half an hour, just helping us in pronunciation of the Quran. You must make a program or to complete the recitation of the Quran in the month of Ramadan. The Prophet ﷺ, read the Quran with Jibreel in the month of Ramadan so many times. And it is mentioned in various narrations. The Sahabas would finish 10 times or 5 times or 15 times or 20 times subhanAllah the recitation of the Quran. It can be done, by the way. But we as individuals have to take that step. You remember, as I mentioned, Allah gives an opportunity to everyone. I was not supposed to come here. Allah gave the opportunity. And I said, okay, I'm going to take it. You probably were not supposed to see or were going to listen, but now you have this opportunity. So you now know, or we all now know, that we must recite the Quran. How are we going to do it? Let's make the plan. My recitation is not good. What am I going to do? I'm going to take the practical steps in order to make it easy. So many channels, they show you how to recite the Quran. You can still manage something. Perfect your recitation of Surah Fatiha. So many people make mistakes in Surah Fatiha. Okay? Instead of saying Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, which is ha, they will say Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. This is another thing. Alhamdu, ha, which is the light ha, which is pronounced from the back on the top. Ha. Okay, when we say Alhamdu, Alhamdulillah means all praise is for Allah. Okay? All praise is for Allah. There's another word which is said, ha, from the bottom of the throat. Ha. Some people say Alhamdu. Yeah? You know what it means? It means all destruction is for Allah. You see how it changes? You have 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks left. Start working on your Fatiha. Okay? Listen to the Quran. The internet is full of these recitations. Every day you're spending 15 minutes just to recite Surah Fatiha. Just to recite the last 10 surahs or 15 surahs or 20 surahs that you know, mashallah, tabarakallah. Okay, these are the practical steps you can take. See what adhkar you will start from now, especially the morning and the evening one. The Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar, قل هو الله أحد قل أعوذ برب الفلق قل أعوذ برب الناس بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض, and then all of the du'as, اللهم إني أسألك علما نافعا ورزقا طيبا وعملا متقبلا, all of these du'as, so that come Ramadan you are ready. When the Imam is making that du'a, you know du'as are being accepted. When you stand up to make du'a, you know what du'as are you going to make. You're going to raise your hands, okay, and you will make that du'a, but only when you have prepared yourself. Only when you have prepared yourself. Then what du'as will you make in this month of Ramadan? And how will you make the du'a? The hadith of Prophet ﷺ, that there is a way of making du'a. Okay, everything has a certain way. The way is, you're in a state of wudu, it is recommended. You praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which means you say Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu. Then you send peace and blessing to the Prophet ﷺ. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad wa barik wa sallam. Then Allah says, وَلِلَّهِ الْأَسْمَاءُ الْحُسْنَى فَدُوهُ بِهَا. The best of the names are that of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Call on Allah with those names. Which means what? Ya Allah, Ya Rahim, Ya Ghafoor, Ya Dhul Jalali wal Ikram, Ya Dhul Quwwati al Mateen, Ya Akram al Akramin, Ya Rabb al Alameen. Ya Hayy, Ya Qayyum, all of these names. 99 names are not the only 99 names, there are more than 99 names. But let's say the 99 names, take 20 names from those 99 names before Ramadan and start learning them. Start learning the meaning of them. It is mentioned that when you're asking dua to Allah, if it is for your sins, then you should make the dua by taking the name Ya Ghafoor, Ya Rahim. The most merciful, most compassionate. Allah forgive our sins. Okay? So we praise Allah, we send peace and blessing to Prophet ﷺ, we call Allah by His names, and then we make the dua for ourselves first. Allah forgive my shortcomings. Allah forgive my sins. Allah forgive me. Allah make me from the people that you love and make me from the people that will be in the people from the Jannah, from the people of Jannah. Then you start making du'as for your family members, for your children, for your relatives, for your friends, and so forth, and for the guidance of the other people and so forth. People living in other parts of the world, you must remember them. Then at the end you praise Allah and send peace and blessing to Prophet ﷺ, Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad, wa ala Sayyidina Muhammad, wa barik wa sallam, and that will be the end of it. But prepare yourself practically. Okay? Now we know in Ramadan, you will pray the 5 daily prayers, and then you will also have Taraweeh. So Taraweeh would be 8 or 20, wherever they pray. Start praying some nawafil now so that you get used to it. When the Imam is praying, you're not praying just like, stand, oh yeah, one time he's going to finish. No, you are there because you believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is looking at you and you are enjoying the recitation of the Quran. The Imam, I'm sure, would recite the Quran in a nice way. Okay? And you are focused on it. You're focused on it, subhanAllah. Okay? So this is something which you can do. Is make a plan for your Quran. Make a plan for your Surah Fatiha. Make a plan for your adhkar. Make a plan for your du'as. Make a plan that how you will manage your day. And believe me, if you go with this Ramadan will be 10 times better than all of the previous Ramadans that you could have. Of course, mashallah, tabarakallah, each one of you has the capacity or ability to go and spend Ramadan in Makkah and Medina. Go there. You know, it never used to be that it was easy to get the visa, but now go. There are packages being sold for 14, 15, 1600 pounds. Go and spend the last 10 days in the month in Haram, in Makkah or Medina. Do that. You have to take the step. No one else will come and take the step for you. No one else will come and take the step for you. Allah is giving you the opportunity. Allah is giving you the reminder. You have to take this step in order to come close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? So, first and foremost, do the istighfar that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives your shortcomings. Or everyone's shortcomings. Then make dua that Allah allows us to see the month of Ramadan. Then make dua that Allah makes this Ramadan from the best of the month of Ramadan that you had in your life. And this becomes the start where you will bring that positive change so that you can be from the people of Jannah. And there's another thing. It is mentioned by so many scholars. Allah has given us so many things that we asked for. And Allah has given us so many things that we did not ask for. You know, Allah has given us eyes. We didn't ask for the eyes, but Allah has given us. He gave us the intellect. He gave us the hands. You know, no one asked Allah, oh Allah give us a good way of talking or speech. Or Allah give us a nice tongue or a nice face. You know, this is what Allah has given us and we are very happy with it, alhamdulillah. Allah give us children. So Allah gave these things without us asking. Then there are things that we asked, Allah gave us. The children, the house, the job, and, you know, wives and children and relatives and friends and so forth, and the masjid. Ask Allah for Jannah. Ask Allah for Jannatul Firdaus, the highest of the Jannah. Okay? And take your steps in a way that will bring you close to Allah. This life is a business transaction. Okay? You do something over here, your focus has to be how I'm going to please Allah. How I'm going to make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be happy with me. For He has given me this opportunity, be it in this world Do whatever you need to do within the confined guidelines. You will enjoy your life here, and you will have the best of the lives and the day after the day of judgment in the hereafter. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive our shortcomings. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring us from the people of Jannah. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala join us in Jannatul Firdaus. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. I hope I've not gone any